Amazing. Well, welcome. Thank you, everyone, for taking the time today to join us for this discussion. My name is Jamal Holtz, and I'll be serving as a lead facilitator. Today, I'm with Link Strategic Partners, and we serve as the community engagement partner to the DC State Digital Equity Office, and we're working really here to figure out how we can capture insights to really help create this new digital equity plan to really, one, help close the digital divide in the District of Columbia. Two, think about how do we expand broadband and internet opportunities in the District of Columbia. And three, think about recommendations on expanding access and feedback on helping so that the district create this digital equity plan. So throughout this session, we want to make sure that we hear from you. We want to make sure that we get your feedback, and we want to make sure that you all are engaged in this conversation. And you can do that in many shapes or form. As you know, through Zoom, you have the opportunity to use the chat feature. If you have any comments that you would like to make as we're going throughout the presentation, about a 5 to 10 minute presentation, and then we'll open it up for discussion. But feel free to use the chat if you have any initial thoughts or comments that you want to make. If you have any questions regarding the presentation or clarifying questions, please feel free to use the Q&A function at the bottom of your screen or at the bottom of your phone that says Q&A, and we'll be able to address your questions there. We also welcome folks to come off mute as well. So you can raise your hand, use the raise hand feature, and let us know that you'd like to come off mute to sort of add into the conversation or note that in the chat. So I'm going to toss it over to the DC State Broadband and Digital Equity Office. So Elizabeth Keaton and Adrian Sutton.
Thank you so much, Jamal. I appreciate that. It was a wonderful introduction of us and our team. I just want to make sure you all know that along with myself and Adrian, we also have Andrew Williams from our state broadband team, and then we have our amazing Octo comms that is working behind the scenes to help us. So thank you so much, and to our link partners. So we can go to the next slide. So we already did our introductions. We already talked about the purpose of today's session, but we'll get a little bit into the meat of our discussion. And then we're also going to have a more engaged, facilitated discussion around internet access and digital equity. And then we're also going to talk about next steps and what we can use your help for. And on the next slide, we can actually go to the next one. So I just wanted to start out by saying that, Tech Together, some of you have been here with us from the beginning. 2020 started the pandemic when we were all trying to figure out how to get kids connected, how to combat social isolation with our seniors, and how to just help bridge the digital divide. So now we are at the point where the federal government has come in and said, hey, we are going to give all of the states and jurisdictions money to solve the broadband issue, the issue with digital equity, the issue with devices. So these articles that you see on this page are just talking about the contrast. It started out as we're struggling to connect our Americans, and then we have the pivot to now we have infrastructure money that we're going to use to bridge this divide. And on the next slide, we are going to talk about definitions. So just wanted to make sure that we're all on the same page when it comes to the discussion today. Just want to make sure that we all know when we say broadband, we're talking about high-speed, reliable internet access to your home. When we talk about affordability, we want to make sure that cost is not a barrier to your broadband access. And when we talk about internet-ready devices, we're talking about not just your smartphones, but your laptops, your desktops, your tablets, devices that you use to connect to the internet, that you use for banking, social media, and those type of things. And then we want to talk about tech support. How do we get you connected to tech support services? And then lastly, digital skills, which is probably such a huge thing that we want to talk about, is how do we make sure that all of our residents can safely use these devices to find, share, and create content and information. And on the next slide, we have a cool map here. It's really good visual showing the disparities in DC. So this map is really talking about people and households who do not have an internet subscription. So just to define internet subscription, we're talking about home internet, such as cable, fiber optics, and DSL service in your home. So if you look at the map, we're looking at the dark blue areas. And so we see that scattered all across the district. But if you look closely, you'll see that it's primarily situated in wards 5, 7, and 8, where you have like a huge prevalence of dark blue areas. And so what we see is that 13% of DC households do not have internet subscription. Now that can be for several different reasons, including affordability. But we'll dive more into that as we go through the discussion questions. Next slide. So wanted to talk more about what a lot of people have been interested in is that funding that I already mentioned from the federal government. So 3 of those programs are the Broadband Equity Access and Deployment Program, which is known as BEAD, the Affordable Connectivity Program, which is ACP, and our digital equity programs, what people will say DE. So with these programs, DC is allotted to get $100 million from BEAD, which is focused on infrastructure. Digital equity programs are focused on digital inclusion programming, and we're expected to receive around $5 million for that. And on the next slide, it actually will show you more in depth about what these priorities are for these 3 programs. So one, BEAD is going to be focused, like I said, on infrastructure, but also making sure that we drive adoption of high-speed internet for our families, making sure that we have Wi-Fi infrastructure in residential buildings, making sure that we continue to connect our institutions like education, nonprofits to internet access. With the digital equity programmings, we're looking at how do we develop these plans? How do we create sustainable solutions? And then lastly, ACP will talk more about that, but how do we connect residents to the internet using low cost options from the federal government? Next slide. So this is a timeline of what we're working on, just so everyone's aware. Right now, we are in that first section or first column. We're right now in the planning stage, trying to get a handle on how do we make sure our residents are connected? How do we plan out what we're going to do with the funding? So want to make sure that we're getting stakeholder input from you, the residents of the District of Columbia, making sure that we're learning from you and all of that. So very excited about that. Next year is when states across the country are expected to receive funding. And then when we look at late next year to early 2025 is when we're expected to be able to release awards like grants. And we're still thinking through that process. And then finally in 2028 is when we're supposed to have the BEAD implementation complete, but digital equity will be an ongoing process. So basically just want to make sure that we create sustainable solutions moving forward. So happy that you guys are all on the call, happy to get your input. And now I'm going to turn it over to my colleague, Adrian Sutton.
Hello, everyone, and thank you so much, Elizabeth. You explained that better than what I could. Next slide, please. This program, ACP, the Affordable Connectivity Program, is a federal program that allows households to receive a $30 coupon towards their internet bill. You can use it towards your mobile plan too, but we really try to promote the internet piece. Again, it's $30 off of your internet bill. It's more or less a 2-step process. You go online or you call to see if you qualify. People who qualify are residents that are already receiving federal assistance, let's say Medicaid, food stamps, if you're a vet, or if you live below the poverty guideline, or if you're already a member of the Lifeline program. Again, it's a 2-step process. You apply online or over the phone. You receive like an application code. You could think of it as like a coupon code. And then you will give that code to whoever your internet provider is, whether it's Fios or Xfinity or RCN. So again, $30 federal money towards residents. A lot of residents qualify for it. We're trying to get the word out there more. $30 off your internet bill. For the most part, that $30 will cover like the basic internet package for a household. Next slide, please. And now I would like to toss it back over to the myth, the legend, Jamal Holtz.
Thank you. I appreciate it, Adrian. And thank you, Elizabeth, for that amazing intro to this work. So you all got to get a sense of sort of the framing for the purpose of this listening session and discussion. Again, as I mentioned earlier, we want this to be an engaging opportunity for you all to share feedback with us. And we want to hear from you all, because a part of this work and your feedback will help inform how can we do better down the road as far as expanding access to internet options and getting people connected to broadband. So I want to ask a series of questions to the folks that are attending today, and feel free to raise your hand or drop in the chat. And then if you raise your hand, we can bring you off mute to sort of share any feedback. But on the next slide, there's a question really, next slide, please. There's a question about sort of understanding how many of you all have reliable internet at home, right? And sort of understanding, what do you all typically use internet for? So we'd love for folks to drop in the chat or come off mute if they would love to sort of share. What do you typically use internet for? Are some of you all use internet to sort of watch Netflix? Are you using internet to sort of take class? Are you using internet to sort of play video games? And if you are using internet, are you using internet with little to no interruption? So we'd love to get a sense from you all. What do you typically use the internet for? Feel free to raise your hand.
Yeah, if you could raise your hand, I noticed that, my apologies, I noticed that our chat is disabled. So if you could raise your hand so we could actually hear you, that may be excellent. And I have an education background, so if no one raised their hand, I will call on someone.
So, Tina.
Hi, can you hear me okay?
We can hear you loud and clear.
Oh, great, great. I have that program. I'm on that affordability program. I have Astound, and it's been tremendously helpful to me because, like one of the presenters was saying, you can use it for your phone, but I use it for the internet, and I basically don't pay anything. But I use it for working with my residents. I am the resident council president for public housing community. And a lot of times residents may not have, they have their phone, but they don't have a computer. So I actually have them come to my house sometimes to actually do applications and that sort of thing. Years ago, I used to use broadband to take college course classes and everything, but I primarily use it for helping my residents apply for jobs, apply for benefits, and those sort of things. So it's a community effort for me, and that's what I use. That's what I use the broadband service that I have. We have a community space. However, that internet is not always working. So I can't always take them over to the office to do any work. So I do have the internet at my house, and some residents, I have them come to my house to actually do it. Or if my laptop, well, we have the internet at our community space, then I'll take my laptop and help them get on. But most of them do not have an actual computer to do it. And even working on a tablet is not sufficient for them. So yeah, that's my background with using the internet. So that's how I use it.
And Dana, can I ask a follow-up question?
Sure.
Are you sort of aware of sort of like the level of internet speed you have at home? Like,
I don't. All I know, it works fast. All I know, it works fast. So I don't have any lagging. I use it for I stream TV, so I don't have direct TV or any cable or anything. So I use it. I have 2 televisions and my laptop. I stopped using it, allowing my phone to use my my internet, because I pay for internet with my phone service. So I take that off. But I don't know. But it's I think I got the high speed one. Because I'm used, like I said, it used to be RCN, and they're great for me. So I don't have any lag, any buff. I mean, buffer every blue moon. That's only the streaming. But other than that, it's great. It's great.
That's amazing. Perfect. So I'm hearing that the entire everybody in DC come to your house to use the internet?
Basically, well, certain residents, yes, when I know they're serious about a job.
No, I
And
got it.
yeah, they
Yeah.
have, I have a home office, so to speak. So I allow them to come over and they're on my computer. Well, I'm actually doing most of the work. But yeah,
Yep. Well, thank you, Misty. And I want to bring in Shawnee next for speaking. I know folks are dropping some notes in the chat. So Miss Romaine, Miss Walker, thank you. Ms. Romaine Johnson, thank you for dropping a note in the Q&A. And then there's some other questions that are in the Q&A we'll get answered. But Shawnee Jones, please.
Hi, so I actually use my home internet to check my email, read the newspaper, download books. I'm pretty busy with school, so I also use it for Zoom, Microsoft Teams, and just searching the internet.
Okay. And are you particularly aware, like, do you typically use internet without like no interruptions? Like, are you on these platforms and things are working completely fine?
Yeah, I have a gigabit plan, so we don't. Yeah, I have a few devices along with 2 wireless printers. We have a lot of devices. So yeah, we have the gigabit plan.
Okay. That's perfect. That's good that you can connect and sort of use without no interruption.
Yeah,
Amazing. Thank you for the feedback.
you're welcome.
Joshua or Josiah, sorry if I pronounced that wrong. I'd love to bring you in.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, hey, my name is Josiah, and my experience with internet is my internet's most of the time fast. I mainly use it for like on my computer for like projects and like work related things.
Okay. And then it's same when you use it on your laptop or computer, are there programs or any type of programs you may go to and it starts working slow, or is it typically pretty good and standard?
It's typically pretty good. It's good on Google All, browse everything.
Okay.
Okay.
I appreciate that. And then Mr. Donald Clark.
Hey, Jamal, how are you?
I'm good. Thank you.
All right. Hey, Elizabeth. Hey, Adrian. This is maybe speaking to the choir, but just want to get on record as well. I'm with the DC Department of Disability Services. We are really pushing for an increase of tech utilization by district residents with disabilities to allow them to do for themselves, as well as to stay connected to their services and supports. So as you can imagine, to stay connected, you need internet access. Right now, most of our residents that we have internet access. But what I'm concerned about is that as we continue to push for people to use more tech, that entry level internet may not be quite enough. Right now, we are not accessing any public benefit programs for the various residents for people with disabilities. But just thinking along the future, how we could collaborate to make that available as we continue to promote tech utilization, how we can make sure they have stable internet.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. And what I'm also hearing there is that as we expand opportunities for tech, for people to connect with tech, we also have to expand the opportunities for them to connect to broadband in a way where the broadband that we're connecting, the tech that we're connecting them to match the broadband that they're connected to as well. So if someone, just throwing a random idea out there, if someone is getting a TV as a new tech device, right, and they are on sort of, they're using hotspot on their phone to connect the TV, those two clearly won't work on the same level. So no, that I think, and also creating an inroad where meeting people where they are based on their level of understanding is what I'm hearing in that too. So no, I appreciate that.
Absolutely. Thank you.
And I'm seeing some comments around again, tech training. How do we create tech training opportunities for seniors? So hear you loud and clear on that. Thank you for sharing that. And other folks noting in the chat that they have fast internet at home, typically use it for working remotely. So thank you for sharing that. I want to go to the next slide and so the next question here, as far as I think part of what we want to understand what people typically use internet for at home gives us a great understanding on the type of broadband expansion needed across the district. But also, we'd love to understand some of those challenges that may persist within being able to connect with broadband and reliable internet, right? What do you think are some of the biggest challenges to accessing reliable internet within your community? Is it transportation? Is it where people are located? Like, what are some of those challenges? Is it cost? So, want to hear a bit of those so we can start addressing some of those things too. And feel free to again raise your hand here, Shani.
Hey, what I hear from families, so I actually work with families and individuals with disabilities as well as seniors. And what we hear the most is that they aren't aware of where to go. So they don't know, all of the libraries might have, 10 or 15 computers, and they don't know, okay, well, you can only, the allotted time is an hour. So more than likely the wait won't be that long, things of that nature. They're not aware of the spots within the communities where free, reliable internet is accessible.
No, that's a great point. So, marketing and awareness around where can you go to get internet access. Josiah.
Hello. I think one of the like biggest challenges is for like lower income places because they don't really have like the awareness as well as like the resources to like get the internet they need for helping things like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so there's an infrastructure problem, is what I'm hearing, right? Like many low income, sort of poverty is sort of and sort of cost plays a role there. Appreciate that for that point. Letitia, if we can promote.
Yes, hi. Is there a plan to make this widely available and to let others know what's available in ample enough time?
Yeah, would certainly love to divert to the Octo team if they have any additional. But part of this process, Ms. Reed, is sort of this will all inform a digital equity action plan that will sort of allow for the district to get some federal dollars to implement and sort of solve sort of some of these digital equity inequities that exist within DC, right? So those dollars would be used to sort of think about how do we solve some of these challenges that we're talking about here. But there are a wealth of programs that currently exist, like the Affordable Connectivity Program that was highlighted earlier, as far as getting residents connected to from an affordability standpoint. And there's an entire campaign and marketing campaign around promoting that. So we'd love some insights from you as well. If there's more ways that we can promote and other opportunities that Octo can stay meaningfully engaged. But Octo team, anything you would add to that?
Elizabeth here. I would just say, yeah, I think you're right. And one of the biggest thing is making sure that people know about ACP and trying to promote that because that is one of the low cost internet options that can be offered right now, especially now that we're right in the planning stage. So I think as we go along, like we really want to hear from you and any ideas or any feedback that you have on how we could, create sustainable solutions and help our residents. It's so helpful to us. So thank you.
Thank you as well. I think it would be great if there would be more people to help remove the barriers in the application process for different people, because I've realized that a lot of people face those barriers in just getting the application for ACP or for other programs. And that is at times frustrating to them and it turns them away from applying. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep, no, I think that's a great point. I think D Campbell, want to bring you in?
Yes, hi. Hi, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, I work for a nonprofit in DC. And what I would suggest is collaborating maybe with DHS or DCHA, since we're talking about low income, because and then maybe partnership with the library It's the information is out there. It's just the need of wanting it out there without me. I know it's hard with our participants because they want you to give them everything and then they want you to fill out the application and everything. So to me, it starts with mental. So you can collaborate with the mental institutions, whoever they may be, DHS, DCHA, and the libraries. And that would get maybe majority of individuals, whether it's low, middle, or high income. And then also, I'm trying to think. I mean, that pretty much is it on this feedback. I just know with my participants, I push going to the library because the libraries across DC is amazing. A lot of opportunity and a lot of information. So just us collaborating with maybe the other organizations that's through DHS, like nonprofits, to push that information. So if you get it out to us, a nonprofit in DC, then we will push to our individuals, the clients that are array of incomes and individuals that we can push, or if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But the information is out there because I always look at it and I see it. All you gotta do is Google, but it starts mental. It's your mental health first. So it's a lot going on other than just having the capability and the options of having it. It's more mental, if that makes sense. Thank you.
That makes perfect sense. And it's, I think one of the important things you noted there is sort of, again, how do we meet people where they are, right? And think about those agencies and sort of nonprofit leaders that are connected with the audiences that we're really trying to reach.
Correct. Because then that'll be half the battle.
Yep.
And then you'll have more. It's a partnership.
Yep.
So we'll pretty much do most of your legwork. You'll do your legwork too, but we'll be more on the front on the front lines.
Yep.
Like that.
And Ms. Campbell, I'll sort of we'll drop our contact in the chat, but also it'll be our contact will sort of show up on the screen after. But we'd love sort of to figure out ways that we can get you engaged as far as helping us talk more through this.
Yes, that'll be perfect. Thank you so much, Jamal.
You should read. Is that a new hand?
No, I think she put it right back up when she just stopped talking. I believe.
So I want to move us on to the next question. And Shakira, I see you have your hand raised, and I'll get to you. But on the next slide, I want to really get a sense of sort of where people typically go to access internet options, right? I heard places like community centers, and I heard from you all that there are some people who sort of lend their internet out of their homes, right? So where are people going to get internet access options, particularly now? And if you had the dream blue sky around where are potential places where people should be able to go to access internet, where should those places be? And sort of where are places that we should be thinking about? But Ms. Shakira Gant, did you want to come off mute?
Good evening. Thank you so much. I heard a few things on this conversation. It was scribbling, but I wanted to piggyback off what the last person said, about access and meeting people where they are. And I also work with a nonprofit agency, and I've been in DC my entire life and have worked with various populations. And there is a challenge with literacy still with adults in the city that is sort of simmering. And also there's an issue of people not really knowing where to access. So it's great that we have the campaigns going out and we're posting it everywhere, but I find that you still have to have a paper flyer and post it in these community boards and, the supermarkets and the different places like that. And really sometimes give it to people. Some people require a little bit more hand holding, and that's okay because we're helping to build their confidence as they're learning through this and sort of accessing all of this amazing information that you're doing. But one, it's a literacy. If you can't read the application, like the young lady said, you get very frustrated and you say, you know what, forget it. But also, if you don't know how to research to find the information that you want, which is that information literacy piece, we're still going to have a disconnect. So the last thing, tap into the faith-based community as well. There are faith-based organizations that I work with that really are trying to tap into the communities, and they're looking for ways to do that. So I'd be happy to connect with you all as well when we come out of this webinar.
100%. No, thank you. I appreciate that for that comment. So, what about others? What are some places? What are some places? So, I just want to read what's been dropped in the chat so far, just so make sure that you know that we're bringing it here to the space. So, someone says, since DC requires us of the internet for public services like resident parking permits, etc., the services are needed. If you don't have the internet, you're expected to go to a police station or library to apply for services, which is an inequitable imposition on certain residents in the city. So I think the gist of this message is understanding that with many things that require internet access, right, we should also think about how do we make this a public utility and expand it and make it easier for people to connect to. So have your comment here in the chat and we'll make sure to take record of that. Others, so I'm hearing that some people go to the police station as well to use the internet and the laptops or computers. Some people go to the library. What are some other places that people go to access internet, or places people should be able to go to access the internet? But we think we got it covered.
I think
neighborhood community centers, like community-based organizations, if there's space available, would be phenomenal. Would be fun, especially if there's an event like monthly food pickups or clothing drives or things of that nature. You tend to generate more people, and if you could meet more people in that way and do like a 1-2 punch and getting them what they need or assisting them with what they need, that would be phenomenal.
Yep.
Thank you.
That's a great, thank you. I appreciate you bringing that in.
You're welcome.
Ms. Shawnee Jones and then Josiah Brooks.
Thanks. I would like to, I do access the library pretty often, even though I do have home internet, but I would like to see.
Ms. Jones, you went on mute.
Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Okay, great. Sorry about that. So I was saying that I do access.
Ms. Jones, you went on mute again. I think you're having some audio issues.
I think
no, I hit unmute and then it says the moderator mutes me. Can you hear me now?
Yep, we can hear you now.
Okay. You can hear me now?
Yep.
All right, third time's the charm. Okay, so I was saying that I do access the library while I'm out in the community. I would actually like to see more accessible places within these apartment complexes. Normally, when you go to hotels, they have a computer lab, literally all of them. But what we're noticing is in these apartment communities, if they do have a computer lab, it's not always accessible. So we need actual spaces that are accessible for residents of that community as well, especially the seniors. Give me a second.
Okay. I heard you loud and clear. That one. So apartment communities have an expanded tech spaces like computers and opportunities to connect to high-speed reliable. Josiah.
Hello.
Josiah, perfect.
I think one of the places that should have like more internet is metro stations, because for me, some stations like there's perfect internet, it works, and then other stations like it's just no internet at all, like just goes dead.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. Are there particular metro stations that you will go to and the internet doesn't work, or some that where it's very strong?
Some stations that just sometimes mess up, It's
Yeah.
probably sometimes near like Anacostia, like mainly just the green line. Sometimes it just messes up in that like area.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. I appreciate it, sir. Okay.
Oh, and I was gonna say, I think Janelle has been waiting for a while to make a comment.
All
Janelle,
right.
Hi, Elizabeth. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Great. You and I have been working at this since I think the inception of the BEAD program, the technology program. So I work with a lot of different organizations and communities in terms of trying to uh listen and understand what the barriers are and what needs they have in terms of technology. I was going to circle back to the ACP program. And Elizabeth, I remember at one point there were two contractors in the district who got an outreach grant for ensuring and securing applications for that program. Another part of that program, too, is that there is a $100 allowance toward a new device. So if you're working with your provider, Xfinity, uh, RNC, any of those, you should pursue that too, especially if you want to purchase a new device, and that's a part of the ACP program. But my question was, so how can we as community-based organizations help to facilitate getting people signed up for ACP in a very organized manner? Uh, uh, there's a lot of moving parts to ACP, but for instance, I stay in the Southwest community, and we have a community organization, SWANA. Hi, Dina, because she's a part of that group as well. But if we had an organized effort in terms of getting people signed up for that program, I think our numbers would go up in terms of access to more affordable internet. The second part of that is internet, but what purpose? So you need devices. And there is a program that we have in our Southwest community where we give out residents refurbished computers. We have a task force, a youth activities task force, where we train, we do digital literacy skills. All of those, all the things that I'm mentioning, is a part of educating, providing training, providing access to online resources, to telehealth, to a lot of public resources that are available as we train people to do that. I'm also concerned about the aging community, the AARP. We've done digital literacy training at SciFax. We've also done it at um, another location for AARP members. So those are areas of concern that I have in terms of how do we, as a community-based organization, uh, conduct need sensing sessions so that we can give you more specific feedback on what the needs are for all of the stakeholder groups, aging population, um, disability, veterans, the list goes on. But you know that list. So anyway, that was my comment at this point. I'll raise my hand again later.
Okay, thank you, Janelle. And I'll just point out that yes, I think Adrian had answered your question in the chat too. Like, yes, let's connect on that and see how we can sign up residents for ACP and an organized effort. And then also, yes, how you mentioned the covered populations, we're definitely interested in hearing more about your community that you're serving and getting feedback directly from the residents as well. So thank you. We'll have to connect after the call.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, turn it over to Jamal.
Perfect. So on the next slide, I want to sort of get a sense on. I think we talked a little bit about sort of the comfort around using some of these, as far as some people creating a resume, what people typically would do it for, people would typically use internet for. But on the next slide, one more slide forward, Want to get a sense on, so we talked about the Affordable Connectivity Program, but are there any programs or resources or things that you all are aware about um, that sort of helps residents connect to internet or learn new digital skills? If not, feel free to say no, or if there are, feel free to shout out what are those programs, those organizations, or those entities that are creating opportunities for residents to connect to Wi-Fi or internet, or that are teaching sort of tech skills, digital skills. Are you all aware of any of those programs or organizations? Or if not, feel free to put a thumbs down or say no. Janelle, are you coming off mute, or raise your hand, or was that an accident?
I did. So in the Southwest neighborhood community, we work with James Creek, Syfax, and King Greenleaf. And our SWANA task force provides training for computers for kids. And we do an 8-week course. And in the 8-week course, after the 8 weeks are up, the students, the children, get a refurbished desktop. For the senior citizens, we provide senior citizen digital literacy training. And at the end of 8 weeks, the senior citizens get a laptop. And so we're looking to expand that program. And when I say they get a laptop or a desktop, it's a refurbished computer. So we do have a task force, a technology task force. And the whole purpose of that technology task force is to get from different organizations, medical associations, their old computers, and we collect donations for refurbishing those computers, and we put those computers in various places, rec centers. We give them out to, like, as I said, senior citizens as well as the kids through our task force under the neighborhood association. So those are some examples.
That's amazing. Awesome. And do you have a sense? And what particular neighborhoods are those focused on? Do you know?
This is Southwest. Ward 6.
Okay, all Southwest.
Mhm.
Okay, gotcha. Perfect. Cool. Any others? Okay. Next slide.
Hi.
Oh, hi, please, Miss Michelle.
Hi. My name is Michelle Johnson. I work at the DC Office of the State Superintendent of Education. So I just wanted to share that our organization, in addition to organizations that are funded by the Department of Employment Services, Department of Human Services, Department of Disability Services, et cetera, many of the providers that we are working with offer literacy and numeracy instruction, digital literacy instruction. The providers that we fund at OSSI, Adult and Family Ed, they also provide workforce preparation and workforce training services in addition to supportive and transition. So with all of the DC government agencies that are receiving the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act funding, we have their commonalities and our goals. And so I think it's important to help district residents become more aware of the programs and services that are available throughout the city. I don't think we do enough letting individuals know that they can receive services irrespective of their literacy level. So whether you're an adult learner with pre-beginning literacy skills to an intermediate level adult learner, or an individual at the advanced or low secondary levels. There are programs to meet people where they are. I just think that the city, we don't use television, we don't use radio, we don't use traditional methods of informing district residents that there are organizations that will help them get connected to the Affordable Connectivity Program. We worked with students and families to get connected to the Internet for All program that will work with them to access digital devices where applicable, and will also provide them with the training and support that they need. But I just wanted to put that out there because I think that's an issue.
Yeah. No, train. Yeah, you raised a great point around sort of the training and support. The training support, and sort of want to make sure we continue to uplift that, and that's been raised a few times as far as like, again, how do we build digital literacy, right? It's a part that is provided in the sort of training and tech support throughout the district. But Lou August, I want to bring you in next.
Oh, hey, thanks a lot. Yeah, and WildTech's been a longtime provider of refurbished computers to residents of the district. We provide them mainly through three avenues. One, we run the District of Columbia's senior iPad program. So for seniors, they can get a free iPad along with training and support and information services from us. To sign up for that, they have to reach out to DACL, Department of Aging and Community Living, and get on their list. The qualifications are 60 and older. They can't own a computer now, so it's really meant for the digitally divided seniors in the district. And that's one way. A second way is we run a program monthly with Byteback, where we provide very low cost refurbished computers. We do charge a fee. It's $49 for the lowest end laptop. Still works great, and it's a small laptop, so easily portable. And then Byteback has its own training program that goes with that. I let them speak to that. And then the last one is through us directly. We provide computers to organizations serving the disadvantage of the district. So they can reach out to us. We're also going to start restarting our direct to individual laptop distributions. We stopped those during the pandemic, and we only worked through organizations that serve disadvantaged communities. But we're just now restarting direct to the end user distribution. So I'll let Elizabeth and others at ACTO know once we have our first event with that. So that's it. Thanks.
Perfect. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. And then just adjusting a few comments in the chat. Miss Romaine, thank you for the comment and your contact. And then there's a question in the chat around sort of how do we connect sort of senior training programs. And I know Adrian leads a lot of that work and outreach. So we'll be sure to get you that contact and sort of share that at the end of the slide. Actually, what we're going into next. On the next slide. So I think many of you share some great ways on best ways we can continue to engage with community members on broadband and digital equity, right? So we heard, right, how do we work with community-based organizations, working with disabled and aging populations? How do we think about working with some of the resident councils within the public housing entities? How do we reach out to sort of the agencies that are working with these populations? Are there other best ways or any other outlets or opportunities for us to engage community members on broadband and digital equity that you would like us to focus on?
Hey, Jamal.
Hey,
Hey,
Donald.
Yeah, I just want to hop in. We have various stakeholder forums engaging family members as well as self-advocates. I'm happy to connect with you to share what those forums are and when they routinely happen.
Yes, most certainly love that. And Donna, if you can drop your contact as well in the Q&A, love to follow that. Janelle, did you want to jump in?
Yes, I do. So my suggestion, and it may be even a question here, are you building a community-based contact list where we could submit our names to you so that when information comes out, or if we want to engage members of our community in listening sessions or need sensing sessions, that we can invite you to come to those meetings, and that we can help facilitate this whole process of putting together a digital equity plan. Is there, so basically, is there a contact list for nonprofits, community organizations, and any other people in the community-based organizations who are interested in helping you with this process?
Yeah, I'll let the Octo team answer that one, but I believe, yeah, we'll touch on sort of ways to stay engaged on the very last slide. But Elizabeth?
Yeah, so I will say that we definitely are trying to find the best way, the best avenue. We've had our Tech Together initiative, but definitely we'll make sure that, especially as you all engage with us on these listening sessions and via email, that we'll make sure that you know what we're doing and are actively engaged.
Yeah.
Thanks, Elizabeth.
You're welcome.
And I want to just add one thing before just piggyback on Elizabeth. Ladies and gentlemen, kings and queens, we do not have all the answers, but I am confident with the participants on this call that we could make all the solutions. So this is going to be like an ongoing thing. This will not be our last conversation of the year. You guys have sparked a lot of good ideas, and I truly believe that with a lot of our collaboration, we could get, again, those solutions, those problems into solutions. So thank you again for joining. I'll pass it back to Jamal.
I wanted to real quick, like Adrian was saying, like we appreciate you all for being a part of this listening session, because like we are trying to looking for those organizations like you guys who do want to help us do this work, and so we'll definitely be in touch with you guys so that we could, like Adrian just said, put together this plan so that we can work collaboratively to try to effectively attack these issues that our residents are facing when it comes to getting digital access and equity. So yeah, we'll definitely be in touch with you guys soon.
I went on mute. One more slide, please. On the next slide is sort of the roadmap of sort of what's next. So as mentioned, we're going to continue to do some stakeholder and community engagement over the next few months, and sort of start getting this into sort of formatting of a plan. So we want folks to continue to send us that feedback. We want folks to continue to send us questions or emails and comments at digitalequity@dc.gov. But this is sort of the roadmap of what's next for us. Next slide. And then many of you all ask, what are some ways that you can stay engaged? What are some ways that you can get other people involved in this process? There are many ways. Particularly one, we have a survey here. If folks want to actually challenge themselves or pull out their phones and sort of pull out their cameras on their phone and scan this QR code at the bottom left, there's a survey there. It's a 15-question survey. It takes less than 2 minutes. And really within that survey, what we're trying to assess is a bit more of what we're talking about today, but a little bit more in detail as far as it relates to your unique experiences. So if you want to sort of test sort of some of those digital skills, feel free to pull your phone out and scan that code. We'll love for folks to fill out that survey. And then again, stay in tune and sort of participate and share other listening sessions. We'll have more listening sessions coming up. There's 2 next week that folks can participate in. You can visit sort of techtogetherdc.com. So if folks know people who didn't get to make it today, that's fine. We can do another one next week. We have one happening next Tuesday on the 7th, it'll be a midday one at 12 o'clock. So for folks who like to do stuff during work hours, then we have another one next Thursday at the same exact time. So you can visit techtogetherdc.com to sort of access and see where those are. And then again, send us an email, digitalequity@dc.gov. I want to thank everyone sort of for participating today. Sort of the insights here and your participation is definitely valuable and will be extremely helpful as we build out this digital equity plan. So thank you, everyone, and have a good evening.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you.
guys. And yeah, please send us an email with your information.